How's everybody today? Excellent, excellent. So, it's very interesting that every time I come here, I feel the need to share with you something that's going on in Rayland. Now, before I get to taking you, through a little jaunt through Rayland, I do not want you to do this, so I'm going to be watching you. Do not do this. Answer the question, but do not do this. How many of you looked at the title for today's talk? Don't do it. Don't look now. Don't look now. So, how many know what the talk title is? Okay. Of those who know, when you saw, what is it? Does it work? How many of you thought about what is Ray talking about? Does it? What is it? And work. What is the it? Well, I have to know what it is to know if it works. How many of us thought about, well, what is the it? Okay, so now the teacher in me wants to know, if I ask you, how many of you think you know what the it is? Go for it. What do you think it is? Comparison. My life.
Yeah, does it work the way it is?
Does it work the way it is? All of the above. So, I've been reading a lot of the old New Thought folks, right? Like Emma Curtis Hopkins, Vernon Howard, and I've been reading all these folks. And there's this guy named Mitch Horowitz who wrote this book called One Simple Idea. One Simple Idea. And basically he's talking about the history of New Thought. And one of his main premises is, does it work? This whole thing called positive thinking, New Thought, metaphysics, whatever that is. Does it work? And as I'm going through this and reading it and thinking about, well, does it work? Yes, one thing that comes up is, well, does it work? Because if it's not working here, it really doesn't matter where else. If it's not working here, then right? So I started thinking about, how we say, the proof is in the pudding. Heard that before? The proof is in the pudding. Do you ever wonder, like you get your little pudding and you're like, and you're wondering, there's supposed to be something in it. It's supposed to be like a Cracker Jack box. I'm supposed to find something. There's nothing in my pudding. Now the funny thing is, historically, to the best of my understanding, is originally it was the proof is in the eating of, or the proof in the pudding is in the eating. And the pudding was actually a type of sausage. Not a pudding. Yes, it's a British thing. So it's actually, you eat the pudding, and then you get the proof of, was it good or not? Or, was it healthy or real meat? Or I don't know. But you have to eat it to get your proof. So this whole thing made me start thinking about what does it mean to live, breathe, walk this thing that we call New Thought, this thing that we call unity, this thing that we call metaphysics. What does this actually mean? Because in the grand scheme of things, someone should be able to look at your life and know there's something different about you, right? We all acknowledge that there should be some air of something. Some contagious form of love and joy and faith and peace that as soon as someone enters our presence, they should feel it. They don't know what it is. They might think it's your perfume or cologne. They don't know what it is, but they know that when they're in your presence, something feels different. They hear the words that you speak, and all you might say is, good morning. And there's something in how they say it, something that resonates with something far beyond just your eardrums, something that resounds with your very essence and being, your heart space, that just tells you, this person cares. The woman standing in front of me in Starbucks turned around and said, thank you. And the way she says it tells me she cares. The way someone holds the door open and says, you go, tells me the way someone offers me, no, you go first in line. But you go first in something in the way that we treat one another says something about who and what we are and what we're being. Now, this is me. This is me. I'm just going to throw this out there as a disclaimer now. This is me. I feel that we folks in New Thought Metaphysics stuff, we're called to a higher expectation. What was the affirmation today? I place my faith in God and expect the best. Do we really expect the best? Now, how many times have we said something like, we go outside, we get our stuff, we get in the car, and then we start to drive off and realize my coffee cup's on the roof. Figures. Figures. What figures? It figures that you forgot. It figures that you would do something stupid. What is the it figures? Because the moment we're affirming, it figures that I do stuff like that. Duh. It figures. Duh. Why do we say duh? I missed my plane. Of course I did. So you expected to miss, because you're affirming, of course, you're expecting to miss your plane. Why are we affirming when we're expecting the best? Why do we hear whatever the weatherman is going to say and immediately fall in line with whatever? We ain't nearly out of the bed yet. Curtains are still closed. Roll over, grab the phone or hit the TV, and the weatherman says, today it's going to be 4,629 degrees. And we're like, oh, expletive, whatever. And then we go outside and it's cold. But we base a whole lot of our lives and our experiences on what somebody else says and what somebody else determines, when we are the ones who are called to have enough faith. Now, I sound like Woodpecker for a second. That's in my own mind. I don't know where that came from. I don't know. I told you I watched Robin Williams last night, so there's no telling what's. When I say have enough faith, if I were to individually ask you one by one, do you have enough faith to manifest what you want to have in your life? Well, first, let's go back. What do you want? What is it that you want to be, do, and have? You know how we always talk about, if fear were not an issue, if money were not an issue, if whatever were not an issue, what would you want to be, do, and have? And then we throw out things. We have these things that, if I hit the Powerball for that $350 million, I quit my job, that'd be the first thing I do. And we have this list of things, some of us have a list of things that we would do. Or have. But we're not doing them. For whatever reason. Sometimes we say things like, well, it's just my imagination. It's just my wishing. Why wish when we can create? So let's go back. So if I ask, do you have enough faith to manifest and live the life you want to live? That wasn't a question, but it's okay. I'm glad you. That's fine. Because with me, you never know, so that's fine. Many people do not. Now, the thing is, how much faith do you need? That much. Mustard seed. And that's a tiny little, it's almost the size of a chia seed. It's like tiny. So all you have to do is say, I believe. I believe that it's possible. That's the beginning of it. Do you believe that it's possible? Now, I've spoken to people, and I probably mentioned this because I get on my soapbox kind of thing, and I talk to people. I love Facebook because people challenge me on Facebook in ways that you could not imagine. Truth be told, a couple of weeks ago, I was actually considering stopping being a minister just because. I'm like, So I digress. Anyhow. Don't laugh. Get back in the zone. So, I ask people, do you believe that war could end? A whole bunch of people say no. For as long as people, and this and that and that and the other, no. Do we believe that homelessness could? No. Do you believe that poverty? No. Do you believe that there's all of these no's that won't even entertain the possibility of it changing? And all I'm asking them to do is, can you put into your imagination? Now you can go watch a movie about some little boy with a scar on his head with a magic wand fighting something where they had no nose and be like, oh, Harry Potter's, oh, and be all happy about that. You can go to Walt Disney World and be like, I'm looking for Mickey Mouse. Where's Mickey Mouse? You can be all excited about this imaginary, magical stuff, which is great. But you can't use your imagination to change, create, transcend, transmogrify the very fabric of the earth so that war can end? So that everybody who is ever hungry has food? You can't even imagine that. But you can imagine a little girl with red shoes skipping down a yellow brick road. Interesting. It's interesting where we choose to place our faith. To place the what it is that works. Because the it is our consciousness. And it is always working. But the question is, what are we using it to work on or work for? If we place our consciousness on all of the nays, all of the negatives, all of the it could nevers, and I will never, and I'm not good enoughs, and all of these things, and that's what we focus on, then it works. I remember a long time ago, long before I formally got involved in New Thought, someone said, if you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. If you argue for your limitations, someone is saying, you can be great. No, I can't. But you're beautiful. No, I'm not. My nose is too big. But you could, no, not smart enough. No. If you argue for that, then you are the one who gets to keep it. Because in the grand scheme of things, and we talk about does it work, we talk about the proof is in the pudding. In the grand scheme of things, it is not our place to prove anything to anyone. And when we're talking about this spirituality thing, you can't prove it anyway. Think about this. How many of you in here, raise your hand if there is someone in your life that you love? I got to say, y'all took a little bit of time. Waiting to see what's next. Like, I'm not putting my hand up. Ray might have us dancing again. If there's somebody that you love, raise your hand. Now, place it down. Now, if I were to ask you, can you prove it to me? No. Truthfully, you can't. Now, you might say, well, yes, I can. Honestly, you can't prove that you love them. You can do things that are nurturing and caring and buy them things and take them places and give them a massage or pay for a massage. You can do all of that, but that doesn't prove that you love them. Because many an abusive husband did that for his wife, didn't love her. Many people say, I love you. I love my parents. Love you. Didn't stop me from getting, I love you. So we can't prove that we love or that we are loved. Can't prove it, meaning to someone else. But you know what you feel. And that's proof enough. You feel it. And that is proof enough. Right now, inhale. What did we just inhale? Air, also called oxygen or gas or exhale. What came out other than last night's dinner? What came out? Carbon dioxide. Right here, right now, can you prove that to anybody in this room? Can you prove that oxygen went in and carbon dioxide came out? No, but we know from enough scientific things that it's been proven. But right here, right now, you can't prove it. So there are a lot of things that cannot be proven, but have to be known. So the thing is, do you, for yourself, know that your consciousness is powerful and creative? That's the big thing. Do I know it? Now, I mentioned before I was reading Emma Curtis Hopkins. Ooh, she a tough. Ooh. She says some stuff that anybody remember the JetBlue commercial where they she says some stuff that there is no death. There is no bad. Just outright right there, boom, it's right there, boom. And then I'm reading Vernon Howard, and he says, there is no injustice. It doesn't exist. It exists only because you're focusing your consciousness on this thing called injustice. Okay, so now this is where this is my issue with this. Once again, this is just me. This is Raymont Anderson's disclaimer. This is just me. My issue with this stuff is, if you are going to tell me that this doesn't exist, or that this, then tell me what it is. And there are a lot of old writings that don't address that. And one reason is there are a lot of old writings that don't address things like heterosexism / homophobia, sexism in general, ageism, autism, racism, etc. Because a lot of it wasn't present in their consciousness as something that needed to be addressed right then. So why should I write about it? I have no reason to write about it. Just write about whatever it is I'm writing about. So there are a lot of missing gaps. But that does not mean that we should not question. If we get to a point where we are no longer questioning, then we've pretty much just given up. To a certain degree. Because in essence, when we stop questioning, we stop creating. The artist that asks the question, what song is next? What musical piece is next? That question beckons source to say, here. Here's the next film, the next book, the next idea, here's the next whatever it is to change and transform the world. But the moment we don't ask, we get writer's block. We get, I don't know what dancer's block is. I don't know. That couldn't be, because that was a yoga move. I don't know. You don't feel like dancing. I don't know what it is. But you shut down. On some level, you shut down. And the fact that we acknowledge that there's this, I have writer's block, or artist block, or whatever block, you're acknowledging you are speaking into existence the very thing that you don't want. So Merle Fillmore says in How to Let God, but our words must be trained or we do not see the good. Our words must be trained or we do not see the good. What does it mean? Our words must be trained. Speak what you want. What do you want to manifest? Speak it. What do you want to see happen in the world? Speak it. What do you want to see working in your life or in someone else's life or in the world? Then speak it into existence. Because the very thing that we're talking about is what's working. We can't say something that's not coming from a thought. I've said before, there is no one that's going to just walk up and say, hey, how's it going? Let me too. Oh, did I just say something in Japanese? I'm sorry, I don't know where that came from. And he just blurts out. I don't know where that... I'm sorry. It doesn't happen. So, the words that we're speaking, unless there's Tourette's, just had this, like... But even then, the word has to be in their consciousness. So if Japanese blurts out, somewhere in their mind, the Japanese words existed. They just didn't choose to do it right there on purpose at the time. So the words that we're speaking are coming from consciousness. So the proof of what's going on in our consciousness, the words that we speak. If I'm speaking, whatever it is, whatever that that negative thing is, if that's what I'm speaking, that's proving what I'm thinking on some level. So if you had your own reality TV show and someone followed you around for a week, recording your every move, and then put it up on television, what would we see? Would we see someone who stands in the truth, talks the talk and walks the walk, occasionally stumbles, because we're going to? There's absolutely nothing wrong with an occasional stumble. Occasional, okay, I thought I stuttered. There's nothing. So Robin Williams, leave me alone. There is nothing wrong with occasionally stumbling, as long as you don't make that your habitual thing. What did someone once say? If you're walking and you stumble, make it a part of the dance. So take it, transform it. But at the end of that time, when we watch your reality TV show, what would we gather by the person, by what we're seeing? What kind of person are you being? Based upon your thoughts, which we don't see, but we hear them. Based upon what you do, which is coming from your thoughts, because you're not doing something that, just randomly, you're not just doing, stuff doesn't, it has to come from a thought somewhere. So we're moving based on thought. We're speaking based on thought. Our emotions, to a large degree, are based on thought. Because think about it. Love is a word. But a baby who doesn't know that word knows what love is in essence. So the word doesn't matter. You can feel it. But what we do is our mind says, oh, this word means love. So let me find all the things that I think love are. Oh, love means buying you a new car. That's love. Well, no, not really. So for some of us, remember a couple of years ago, I was 300-ish pounds. And it was because I lost myself and forgot about stuff and started thinking that that chocolate cake was my source of love. It was my best friend at that time. So, what is love? What does it really mean to love? The essence of, not the word. So our emotions, our feelings, typically align with some thought. What do we want to have? Do you want to have more love manifesting and say, does love work in my life? Does joy work in my life? Does peace and harmony work in my life? Does abundance work in my life? Does the Christ consciousness work in my life? And I'm not talking about head game, because we can, yes, Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, yes, Christ consciousness is. Did you watch a reality TV show last week? Because I watched it. And based on that, I'm not so sure that I hear what you're saying. Because I will be the first to admit, there are times when I am challenged beyond challenge with maintaining whatever this thing we call new thought is. Because people say things. For those who are friends with me on Facebook, I tend to post a bunch of stuff, and I posted something the other day, and I don't remember which one it was, but it had something to do with racism. And someone inboxed me something and said, watch this link. And basically in the link, someone was saying racism doesn't exist. It's this thing, the media has fabricated this thing just so we ignore what's going on with politics. And the first thing that welled up in me was anger. Because last month while I was walking through DC, a car drove by me and a couple of guys blurted out the window the N-word as they drove up to me and then drove past me. And they were saying, kill you, blah, 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 blah. So I'm thinking, oh, this is CNN. This is just Alan Funt back from the grave doing a candid camera thing, because clearly this doesn't exist because it's the media's fabrication of it. So, but what do I do in that moment? Because in that moment, it's easy to say something in anger. It's easy. It's easy to feel like you're the cornered cat and want to lash out in defense. It's easy. But we are in New Thought. And New Thought calls us to have or take the higher road. So in the midst of them driving up, one thought was, I'm glad it's not nighttime. Then I said, Anderson, what are you really glad about? I'm glad that I know the truth. And the truth right now is namaste. They don't know who and what they are, so I'm going to know it for them. As difficult as that is, it's what we're called to do. We are called to, now, I'll be the first to tell you, do I do that all the time? No. There are times that Ray has his moments of anger and frustration, and yes. But it's nowhere near what it used to be in the past, and it's a day-by-day process. You know, someone said, I was teaching a class the other day, and you know how we talk about, I'm in the process of whatever it is. I'm in the process of forgiving, or I'm in the process of whatever. How many times have you ever picked up a hot coffee cup? Imagine with me, hot coffee cup, and you pick it up, and you're like, oh, this is hot. Oh my goodness, I should probably put it down. Hold on, I'm in the process of putting, this is burning my hand. I'm in the process of putting it down, still in the process. Okay, wait a minute. In the process. I'm getting there. Oh God, this hurts. Nobody does that. You reach in the oven and pull out something hot and put it out as fast as you possibly can. Why don't we do that with emotional, psychological, and spiritual turmoil and pain? It's easy to identify with physical stuff. Ow! But when this is going, ow! I'll get to you later. I'm in the process of stitching you up. Quit screaming. I'm in the process of, just hold it together a little bit longer. Why do we do that with our psychological and emotional, spiritual self? Y'all laughing because it took... I'm being serious, they laugh because it took my brain out. If I only had a But why do we do that? Because we're not putting into practice the very tools and the very things that could change and transform it. So why don't we start sitting down and saying, I know that my mind is powerful, and I know that there are people for me to forgive. Forgive them. Right here, right now. Will that mean forgiveness is done and forever? No. Because you may have to forgive them again Monday. And you may have to forgive them again Tuesday. But you forgave them today. And it's done. Right here in this moment. There is no one that we need to forgive right now. Because right now we are present in our minds, in our beings, in our hearts, and in our consciousness. Right now we're at peace. So we've already forgiven now. The next time it comes up, forgive again. Who in here brushed their teeth once in their life and never did it again? Who in here bathed once and never did it again? We don't say, oh my goodness, I gotta wash again? Oh, this washing thing is so tiring. Forgiveness is a process. It works. Love and kindness and compassion is a process, and it works. Prayer is a process, and it works. Right in this moment, know for yourself that you are powerful beyond measure. That the thoughts you think and the words you speak and the things that you feel become the actions that you embody. And you literally have an aura and atmosphere around you that can change, is changing, transforming the entire face of this planet. We talk about being afraid of the flu, etc. be contagious and send love out. Every time you speak, infect somebody with love. Every time I say, let everyone that I see and everyone who sees me see the face of God. Let everyone that I hear and everyone who hears me hear the voice of God. Let everyone that I touch and everyone who touches me touch the body and hand of God. Period. And so it is.